What's up, folks, and welcome to Indie Ramble. So, I got a Metroidvania for you guys today, and this one is quite interesting. I've had it for a little while now, but it's gotten very little attention, and I do think it deserves more of it for sure. And this is interesting in a lot of ways because it's got some modern mechanics and ideas to it and also some very retro ideas as well. It's kind of an interesting mashup. So, this is REDSHOT, and it bills itself as a bullet time Metroidvania. And I can see why it comes up with that analogy for itself. And this is interesting in a lot of different ways, but some of them have been a bit frustrating to me, but they may not be for you. So I'm going to show you what I mean here. So, first thing you're going to notice here is that this does have retro style graphics to it, but you guys know that I like to try to equate games that have retro style graphics with an era or a system. You know, this looks like an NES game, this looks like a this game, etc., etc. This is a style you don't see very often. It's pixely in the sense that it's very the pixels are almost blocky, like little squares almost. So this is not something that's like an NES game or a Super Nintendo game. This is something I would equate more to some older home computers, potentially. The game this actually reminds me of when I look at it is Bruce Lee for the Commodore 64. And, you know, that'll be a deep cut to some people and not to others, but that's the style it reminds me of. And I actually like it. I think it's pretty cool. And I think the style, it's unique and something that you don't see done a lot, and not done well a lot of the time either. This has a very, very interesting use of color. There's a lot of... it has a very interesting style, and I think what it's doing, it does very well. But, oh boy, hang on, this is an enemy I haven't run into before, and this guy's quite the trick, isn't he? Oh boy. So what's the point of this game? So, it is a Metroidvania, and in many ways, it's a more classic Metroidvania, but not in every way. So, the idea behind this is that you are sort of I guess you'd say a space privateer, or a space freelance soldier. And you end up getting shot down onto this planet, which is a planet that you were getting sent to anyway, and there's basically a big alien invasion going on. And your goal is to stop that for the sort of royalty of the planet, and you discover some other things along the way, and there's more of a narrative that gets fleshed out in that regard. So, when the developer says it's a bullet time Metroidvania, what does he mean? Well, it's pretty simple. You press a button, and it goes into bullet time. And that's actually really cool, because I found myself not using this feature nearly as much as I should, because I kind of keep forgetting it's there. But it's sort of critical, really, to doing well in a lot of the different combat scenarios that you're going to encounter. This game actually does have a fairly... There's quite a bit to the combat in this. So there's a number of different enemies that you're going to come across, which all are equipped with different kinds of weapons. And you also have a number of different weapons at your disposal. So we have the inventory here. So I've leveled up my inventory space a little bit so I can carry more than you can at the start of the game. But you have the ray gun, which is a starting weapon that has unlimited ammo, and then I have an assault rifle, a shotgun, a flamethrower, and a rocket launcher. There's several other types of guns as well, and they all have their own different kinds of ammo. There's also things like Molotovs that you can throw, there's grenades that you can lay down, there's mines, there's all kinds of different things. So a lot of different ways to approach combat in this, should you so choose. And all of these items that you pick up can be rearmed with either ammo that drops from enemies, which is not super infrequent, or there's also shops where you can buy upgrades, you can buy new weapons, and you can buy more ammo. And you can sell anything that you have in your inventory that you don't need. So that's always nice as well. The shopping system is not something you always see in games like this. And as you can see, most of the enemies that you kill will drop money. You can grind, like, sometimes you'll need to grind a little bit for purchases, but it never takes long. The enemies tend to drop enough money that you really won't have to do that very often. And there's shops scattered throughout the map, as you can see here, as well as save rooms and teleporters that can take you between each other. So, save points are this thing here. You just touch it, and you're healed up, and you're saved. So, that's pretty cool. And there's a number of characters that you can talk to. There's a major town, which is over sort of on the left side of the map there. And there's a lot of environmental diversity in this. There's a lot of different biomes that have their own different sort of environmental challenges. You're going to run into a number of different kinds of enemies. And the nice thing is you have a lot of ways you can play this between the different abilities that you have that you can level up and unlock, and the different weapons that you have. And the game does have a New Game Plus mode, so you can go back and try to experiment with some other things if you like, which is always pretty neat. And as you go along, you're going to get different objectives. There's also little side quests that you can take on, and you have to go through exploring the area to... Ooh, inventory cap upgrade I apparently didn't have. That's always nice. And you have to go around exploring the different areas to find all the things that you need in order to complete your objectives. And we're heading back towards the town now, so I'll get to show you that a little bit. And you'll encounter a lot of different enemies along the way, including some rather interesting and, in many cases, somewhat challenging bosses, which is kind of cool as well. Lots of... there's no shortage of variety here. Given that this game was made by one person, it's frankly really impressive. Not just the variety, but I think he did a really great job with this art style. I think the music is actually really good in this. It's not chiptune, it's more modern style music, but I think it does a really good job. The music varies a lot, but it adds a lot to the ambience. I assume he did the music because I didn't see any credits for anybody else. So... if he did, you should put this music up on Bandcamp or sell it on Steam with the game, because this is one of those soundtracks I would totally listen to when I'm not playing. So, it's a nice presentation, and it's a nice environment to be in. I really like the way it's all put together, and there is a lot of sense of exploration and sort of associated wonder that you get from that by going around the world and looking for different things and dealing with the different types of enemies you'll come across, and, you know, the accomplishment you'll get in finding things. Now, you're going to see here that I'm just sort of taking you on a tour and not really aiming for anything. Now, part of that is because I want to show you guys all the different... I'm actually getting upgrades at a crazy pace here. You normally don't get upgrades this quick, but I seem to be finding a lot of things. Though I have found sometimes the game respawns upgrades that you already have, and when you pick them up, you don't actually get the upgrade a second time. But it's there anyway, which I find to be a little odd. I'm not sure if that's a bug or if it's intentional. My main problem with this game, and this is something that is a problem for me, but that I know will not necessarily be a problem for everybody, is the way that the mapping system works and the way in which you determine what you've completed already and what you still need to do. So, the objective I currently have, which is to acquire 4 of these power module things that are needed. I've been working on this for a long time, and I'm kind of lost, to be honest with you. This is not my, and this is one example of a problem here that I'll show you after. This is actually not my first time recording this video, and it was funny, when I did the first take of it, I actually found one of the things that I was stuck on and that I've been trying to dig out for a long time, but now I'm kind of back to this. And here's the problem. So you have a map here. It's fairly extensive, right? This is a fairly reasonably sized world, which I think is really cool. And you're going to see that it's telling me I have to pick up these 4 objectives, and it shows where they are. So problem number 1. This doesn't remove the ones you've already picked up. I have 2 of these. So if you leave the game and you come back a week or 2 later, and you look at this and you go, crap, which ones did I get and which ones did I not? It doesn't tell you. The only way you know is if you go back to those areas and find that the item you need isn't there anymore. So it involves a lot of backtracking unless you've got, oh, hey, hidden thing. That's cool. Unless you've got a really, really good memory, and that is not me, especially with how crazy my work has been lately. Problem number 2. You're going to find that you get stuck a lot behind obstacles. And what do I mean by that? Well, you saw earlier, so there's a little dash button too here. You'll see earlier that I came here. and this is the locked door that I don't have a key for. That is not indicated on the map anywhere. The map gives you specific kinds of points of interest, like shops, saves, and teleports, but it doesn't tell you what paths are closed off to you. So multiple times I have gone to, say, the nearest teleportation device that is close to an objective I need to go to, only to find out that all the directions I think I can go, I can't go because, like this, they're blocked off. And again, you won't remember that if you leave the game for a while and come back, and the game doesn't give you any indication that you're blocked there. The only way you know is by running into it. So, I have found myself in a position where I am wandering around going, where do I get the next thing I need for the next objective? Where do I get the next key? Where do I get the ability that will open this particular door? You know, what do I do? Because I'm just at a loss, right? And that's unfortunately where I've gotten to in this. See, here's another area. And a lot of these areas are places that will allow you to get between areas more quickly. This door is locked. The way you open it is by hitting that little nubbin on the ceiling over there to the left of it. So I have to get to this side of that door before I'm able to open it. Well, as you can see, it's not necessarily a short route to get back there. And I've had several cases where I've been trying to complete an objective, and I've tried every way I think I know of to get to it, but I'm blocked off every single time. And that is really frustrating, especially when you're someone like me who's covering a lot of games or doesn't have time to game every day, and you go away for a while and you come back and you have no clue what you have to do. Having to look at this fairly large map where it requires a fair amount of effort to travel between two distant points and going, okay, well, I went all the way over here because I thought this objective was here and I already got it. And then I can't go back to this, and then I don't know how to get to the other two. So what do I do now? Now, that is a problem for me, but I know for a fact it's not going to be for everybody. Some people who are into Metroidvanias are hardcore into the exploration element of them. They don't want to be led by the nose, and I don't necessarily want to be either. You know, I'm not generally a big fan of the Bethesda RPGs either, because they're just waypoint simulators. They just tell you exactly where to go, and there's no sense of discovery and wonder unless you choose to sort of make your own fun in that regard, if you will. And then there's the really old school Metroidvanias, like, for example, the original Metroid, which doesn't even have a map and just goes, yeah, go figure it out. And some people love that style. This one kind of meets it somewhere in the middle, because it does have a map. It does have an auto map even, but it doesn't point out all of the critical information that you need. It points out some of it, and then the other stuff that really is not so much something that would make the game too easy, but to me is more of quality of life, it doesn't choose to show you. And it's a weird combination, because yeah, to put an auto map in the game but then not tell you simple things like you can't go this way and here's why. I don't really see the benefit that brings other than frustration, because you've still removed one of the core elements of exploration that makes the games without an auto map appealing to that crowd. But then you've omitted one of the things that the people who do like auto maps would probably want to have. It's just an odd design choice, but at the same time, I can see why there's a crowd for that. And that's why one of the main reasons I'm showing this to you guys, because I spent a lot of time sort of dumping on that one, what I believe is a flaw, because I believe it's a big flaw. Because I don't want to spend 3 hours wandering around places I've already been trying to just find the next thing I have to do to make any progress. So here's what the shops look like. You can see every shop has different weapons and abilities that are available to buy. Every shop has its own set of upgrades as well. So if you want to fully upgrade, you're going to have to go to all the different shops. Also has some food and consumables here. And then what you can do if you want to sell things is really simple. You just say that you want to drop them, and the guy goes and picks them up and just gives you money. It's pretty simple, and I like the way it works. I think it's really cool. And actually, you know what? I got so much money stacked up. The heck with it. Let's get ourselves some upgrades while we're here. And you know what? I think I'll buy one more max stamina, because why not? There we go. So, yeah, and that's I wanted to point that out because there's so much of this game that I like, but getting lost like that and having to backtrack so much, to be honest, has been really frustrating for me personally. But I know that other people are going to find that appealing, and they're going to like the fact that they might have to take a while to find something, and that when they do, they'll feel really satisfied and accomplished having done so. And I get that. That's a perfectly legit playstyle for anyone who wants that. And I think you would like this game if you're one of those people. But to me personally, just to make this more appealing to me, it would be really cool if it had an option in it to maybe a toggle to just point out where those key points of interest are, to be able to color a door like this, saying you can't progress in here because it's this kind of door, or you need a key to go through this door, or whatever. But the problem is like, I need a key to get through another door to get to another section that I have to go to for one of my objectives. I have no idea where the keys are. The last key I found was found basically by just wandering around and bashing my head against it until I found something. So, and some of this could be me. You know, some of this could just be I've made some bad choices or had some bad luck or missed a few obvious things, but I usually am pretty good about that. And in this case, it just hasn't worked out for me. So I'm not sure. That's something that can be subjective to each person's experience. See, here's another one. So, and that's the thing. I don't showcase bad games on this show. I showcase games that I either think are really good or games that I can tell are still well made, but that even if there's a couple of things in them that don't appeal to me, they might appeal to you. And that's the case with this. I'm a little bummed by the fact that I'm getting lost in this game, because I'm really enjoying it otherwise. I love the look of it. I love how tight the controls are. I love the number of weapon and enemy varieties and different ways you can attack different scenarios. I love the fact that it has a new Game Plus option. And other than that, those little quality of life navigation issues, I think this is great, and that it's not getting nearly enough attention. As I record this, the game has like 8 reviews on Steam, and that's a shame. This game deserves more notice and hype that it's getting, especially for the fact that this is one of those really cool unicorn one-person games where they've done seemingly everything themselves and have put together a really good package of all of it. You know, this is a game that had a lot of effort put into it and also has clearly a lot of heart and passion. And I respect the heck out of that. It just needs that one little extra thing to sort of nudge it into the place where it's going to, it's going to really be amazing for me. I would love to finish this, but if I can't find my way forward soon, I don't know if I will. But I think in your case, you may not mind that, and you may be like, yeah, I'm fine to spend a bunch of time discovering because I'm going to feel really good at the end of it. And if that's you, then I think this game is absolutely for you. You know, in a lot of cases when I get stuck in a game like this, that's where I would just consult a walkthrough and say, screw it, I'm just going to, cheat a little bit, cheese my way through this, and be done with it. Unfortunately, because this game is not very popular, there are no walkthroughs that I can find. And to be fair, I didn't see anyone in the Steam forums posting that they were stuck either. So, again, this may be a me problem. Could totally be that. I'm fully willing to admit that. So, but yeah, with that caveat in mind, I do think this is really cool, and I do think it's worth checking out. Just be aware of those little things, but you may find out that this is something that is really up your wheelhouse. So, Yeah, that is REDSHOT. It is out now on PC. You know, if you like Metroidvanias, give it a look. Like I said, just be aware of that one little caveat with it. But otherwise, really well-crafted game that I think deserves more attention than it's getting. So, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. If you liked what you saw here, please do all the normal YouTube things. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Leave a comment down below. How does this look to you? Do you know, do you care about the little exploration things that I mentioned? Is that a deal breaker for you? Or do you think, you know, you still want to give it a try in spite of that? You know, there's a lot of Metroidvanias these days, not necessarily a huge amount of truly amazing ones. So what are some others out there that you think are really cool? I'd always love to know about that stuff. And as always, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction for multiple variety streams a week. I cover other indies as well as retro stuff over there, including some stuff that you won't see over here on YouTube. We have a great community there, and I would love to see you be a part of it. Thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you on the next Indie Ramble. You guys have a good one. Take her easy. I'm gonna try to find my next objective.